artist! So today we're going to be doing a still life drawing of apples. So I'm going to show you how to draw an apple first, and then we'll draw 3 of them in a picture and color them different colors with our crayons. So to draw an apple, I'm going to practice first on my whiteboard. If you don't have your whiteboard, that's okay, but you can just watch me practice doing mine apple. So you're just going to want to draw, it's almost like the top of a heart, and you kind of go down, make it like circle-y, and then it kind of goes back up, so it's almost like a letter C, and then you're doing a backwards C and just going up and down and going to meet your other side, so kind of just makes 2 backwards C's. And then we would add a stem for our apple. So I like to do the stems kind of coming out of it down a little bit lower. So we're just going to do a line here, go over and go down, and then we want to add a little line here to make it look like it's coming out of a little divot or a little indent in the apple. So that's basically how to draw a cartoon, like a cartoony looking apple, but to make it look more realistic is what we're going to try to do by coloring it more realistically. So I'm going to put this to the side and start on my real project. So you're going to need your white paper and your pencil to start. And we're going to draw 3 apples, and they can kind of go on top of each other or go sideways. If you look at apples in your house or in a picture, sometimes they are on top of each other in a pile. So I'm going to start with an apple in the center of my paper, and it's just going to be kind of like our fist in size, like not too big, not too small. So we're just going to go up, and you can start with either side of the apple. So I'm going to go down and then go back over this way. And it's okay if it's a little lumpy, because all apples are a little different in shape. And then we're going to do our stem and our little line. And we're going to add color to the stem later, so don't worry if you can see through it to the back line. So now I'm going to do another apple, and maybe I want to do it behind this one. But since we're doing it in pencil first, you can just draw another apple kind of overlapping it. So I'll show you what I mean. So you're just going to go make your apple and go lightly on there. And like I said, it's okay if it's a little lumpy, because apples aren't perfectly shaped all the time. So then I would just erase where it kind of overlaps, so it looks like there's one that's closer and farther back. We can also make them kind of laying down. So if you want to turn your paper, you can, and just draw another apple. I'm going to do this one a little smaller on the one side, so it's kind of laying down, and then it would have its stem. So these ones are all kind of in a line. That's completely fine. You can spread yours out. You can have it be more close or more far away from each other. But once I have at least 3 apples, you're going to take a ruler and just put it kind of through your apples. And you want to have it not underneath, but through them. Then you're going to do a line, stopping when you hit your apple. Don't go draw a line through them. And we're going to start back up here and draw it all the way over. So then it looks like they're on a table. So once you have all of your apples, what you're going to do is we're going to start coloring them. So you're going to need your crayons, and you're going to need black, you're going to need red, yellow, and green. And if you don't want to do these colors, like you want it to do all red, that's fine, but I'm going to show you guys how to do all 3 different colors of apples. So for my middle one, I'm going to do a red apple. So before I start with my red, I'm just going to say that you guys should trace them in black crayon. So if you have crayons, that's what's best. If you have colored pencils, that works also. Try not to use marker for this. I think that crayon will work better. So I'm just tracing around my apple shapes. And my table. So the first thing I'm going to do when I'm coloring my apple is, you know, the apples are kind of shiny. When you see the skin like of the apple, it's kind of just like, ooh, like shiny and glossy. So we're going to add a highlight so it looks like it's really shiny. So let's go on the right side of the apple, and we're just going to make a little square type, like a lumpy square shape. And I'll show you that again on my other apples. So here I'm going to do it again. It's kind of like a line, go back, and then one up here in the same type of spot, even though it's a sideways apple. So then you're going to start with your coloring. So I'm going to do my red one, and you're kind of just coloring it all in red, and then we're going to add some shadows to it. But this highlight you're not going to color over. You're going to leave that white. So see how I'm coloring in lines? I'm not doing all scribbles. I want to just do like neat coloring. So when you get to the highlight, don't color that over. We're leaving that white so that it looks like a shiny part of an apple. All right, I'm going to do my yellow one. So if you don't want to do a yellow one or a green one, or maybe you don't want to do a red, you can choose your own colors, but the project should be a similar way of doing it for no matter what color you do. I kind of like doing all different colors, so then it looks really bright and colorful and pretty cool. So once you have them colored in, what we're going to do is add a little bit of shadow to them. So the shadows would be at the bottom of the apples, and we're going to take our black crayon and we're just going to do light colors of black on top of your color, on top of your red here, and we're just doing like little like scribble mark like underneath of where the apple is, and it's kind of going to be like a grayish kind of color on top of them. And then you can add a little bit of shadows to the sides if you have them overlapping. And you can even bring this up a little bit. So I don't want to go too crazy with the black because it's really neat with crayons. You can kind of like mix colors on top of there. So you know how yellow ones aren't pure yellow, they have like some different colors in them. So maybe on the yellow one, maybe you want to add some orange colors to it. So let's add a little bit of that. mostly adding it to like the bottom and working your way up. So it goes from dark to medium to really light at the top. So then I'm gonna just get another color of my reds and just push a little harder and just go dark at the bottom and then bring it up a little bit. And then for my green, maybe you have like a darker green or maybe you have a lighter green. So you can just kind of layer color on top of it to really make it look multicolored and more realistic. So you're adding different layers of color onto it. You don't want to just do one color for each apple. You want to add some like light marks and dark marks of color. And you can go back in with your different greens. And if you want to add like a little bit of other colors into your apples, they can be different colors in there. Maybe you want some brown for your stems. Add a little bit of brown to my green one, because you can see they all have like some different shades of color in them. So it really just like builds it up and adds more realistic colors to them when you add more layers of your crayons. So before we add any shadows underneath our apples, what we're going to do is add a pattern to our bottom and our top of our paper. So what we're going to do is just pick any color that you'd like. I'm going to choose a purple color for the bottom, and we're going to just do some different kinds of lines and shapes. So we're going to do some shapes and lines depending on the side. So on the bottom we'll start with some lines. So I'm going to do some wiggly, wavy lines. So I'm kind of just drawing it all the way through, but not touching the apples. And then I'm just doing another one. And then for the top, I'm going to do a shape this time, and I'm going to just do some triangles. And they can go any way you want. And we're going to end up coloring these in, but I'm just drawing them for now. If you want to do it in pencil first, you're welcome to, but since we're just doing the colors, you can just do it with crayon if you'd like. And you want to add a good amount of the shapes up top. Alright, so I'm going to color these in. And you could do the same color or a different color. And it could be your favorite color or just any color that you want. Before too long we have a really cool looking picture, but the last thing we're going to do is we're going to add some shadows underneath of our apples to make it look like they're really sitting on the table. So to do that, we're just going to do some shadowy marks underneath them on the table. So you're just kind of doing some light shading with your black crayon underneath them. So it's almost like they're sitting on like a black line, but it's their shadow. And then you can add color to your bottom table or to your top sky. So I'm gonna just do that now, and I'll choose orange, and I'm just gonna make the whole thing orange on the bottom. If you want to do each stripe one color, you're welcome to, or you can make the whole thing one color. That's up to you. And then maybe for the top, I want to do blue, like a blue sky, but that's completely up to you. It could be any color you want. And I'm just gonna go in and do a light color blue in the background. And I'm just gonna color over top of my shapes, but it's up to you if you want to go over them or around them. Alright, so there's how to do a still life picture with apples. Thanks.